Hello, everybody, and welcome to Total Annihilation Replays. Once again, I'm bringing you some content, just trying to take you back into what it would be like to be experiencing Total Annihilation in the year of our Lord 2008. Continuing the Best of 10 series between myself, Postal, and number one clan, Aprox. And this time, it's my pick. So I have opted to open up this Best of 10 series by picking Shore to Shore. This is a long, skinny hot dog of a map, and I actually don't really know. This is probably the best way to actually look at it. There's a shore over here and a shore over here, and this is the Shore to Shore. It's not necessarily a balanced map because of the positioning of the islands. I actually don't know if I've casted a game on this map yet for OTA. But this is one of those maps that just didn't get played on Zone. So a lot of people just didn't know it. I played it on Phoenix Works as part of the Intergalactic Wars. So I was familiar with it. But to give you an idea of other people's opinions on this map, the Medmo is watching, of course, the of the King of France, or if I can butcher the French properly, I believe it is les milieux jours François or français. Jours okay, whatever. You all can criticize my French, but know that none of you French people who are criticizing my French are better than Med at Total Annihilation. So anyway, over here on the right we've got me. And over there on the left, we've got Aprox. And Med says that he would not play this map even if you gave him money. And remember, we talked about how Aprox plays me a weird map, I say. So yeah, that's basically the general attitude, is that no one wants to play this map, and as a result, not very many people are good at it, with the exception kind of being... I just kind of learned a solid build order, and this played into the odd, bizarre style that I did. And he says, what a messed up minimap. It's actually very hard to click and radar target on this thing, because you can see up on the left it's so small, and this mega map just didn't exist. Aprox set the game speed to +4. I actually don't object. Usually I would. You'll see I slow it down. I said, for you, I bet it's a little turd up there. He's actually playing at a higher resolution than I am, which is very similar to the resolution that we are all looking at right now. So he says, it's a what? And I say, never mind. Aprox is Dutch. So you can see Aprox, he went solar, walked these two mexes, and picked up that one. This is a weak mex. I think it's a plus a 0.5. Aprox says, I went core, right? And I say, what else? He says, arm? Med says, core has no chance here, in my opinion. That's what Med says. But remember, Med doesn't play this map and wouldn't play it for money. And I say, correct, Med. That's me agreeing with him. Core has no chance here. And Aprox says, BS. And he says, now shut up all. And I say, I can't click that fast because I'm having trouble keeping up with the 0.4, all while typing my trash talk into the chat. So we'll go ahead and speed this up, because you can see basically the goal here is to cap the mexes as fast as possible. Wind is not good here. That's why air first is not really that common. Plus, just the distance on the map means by the time your bomber gets over here, there's plenty of time to have air defenses up. Aprox tells me to be quiet already. I say let's play at 10 for real, at -10 for real Snorefest. You can see I'm already doing a little screw up here. Aprox says I'd play at +10, but as we learned recently, that's Evil Scat's game. Yep, and I say I tried once against Evil Scat. And I said that yielded predictable results, as in I played Evil Scott +10 on John's Pass and lost horribly. So you can see what I've done is I've just done this build where I walk my commander over, I use my cons to reclaim. I have 3 vehicle cons on land. You can see Aprox still has his main factory up, and his commander is just getting wet at about the same time mine is, but you can see I start a little sooner. He has more of his metal extractors capped, though. And just about the time that he gets all of his capped, I have got all but this little 1.5 right there. I've got my first C-con out, but he's actually walking his commander because he hadn't reclaimed this yet. So he didn't have the metal to build his shipyard. So I think he's gonna head on over here, and that's just a build order mistake. And there you go. And then he stops to build his shipyard. So by the time he starts his shipyard, I actually have 3 C-cons out. He does have more build power. Oops, sorry about that. He does have more build power on land. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see here. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I believe 6 cons. So he's got significantly more build power than I do on land. But a lot of the battle is going to happen in the sea. You can see I already start out by building these sonars and turning them off. And they give, I believe, I'm going to have to. Oh boy, we'll just build one. I'm pretty sure it's 8 energy. Yep, 8 energy, so you can see this. I've got it on. I just flip this off button, and now it's still producing the 8 energy. So these are more efficient than solars. You can see Aprox is doing the same thing, but he's actually spaced his out. I do not space mine out. I leave them close together. What this means is that they are vulnerable. A single one of these getting destroyed will wipe out the entire batch. But this does make them go up faster, and that's why I'm actually doing it. You can see I'm building some metal makers there. And some metal makers here on the island as well. Also just building a little bit of air defense. This is some shore defense in case some skeet raids come in. I walk my commander. I get these 2 metal extractors. You can see he's done the same. He also lit these on fire so that way they wouldn't burn his mechs. I actually don't do that. My commander walks across and I build another shipyard. And you can just see how my resources, I'm 3 ahead of Aprox right now. If we hit the total command, you can see it says we're even right now. But that will change. He's built a K-bot, and now he's building air. So he built the K-bot so he can start working on those hawks. You can see his commander is out here. He is not building C like I am. So I've got a sea rush started. Plenty of searchers going out. Now, even though I build these close together, I do space the rows out so I don't pack them all together. So that way, if this gets hit, it only destroys a small row and it doesn't actually detonate all of them. Aprox wants to know if Pels can get down from the top. I say I'm pretty sure they can. Med says they can. In actuality, they cannot, and I just didn't know because I never build Pels. But he's not taking a chance, so it's actually good on him. He's actually sending his K-bot down here to build the pelicans. So you can see he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got way more than that and more on the way, but the issue is just the sheer distance. You can see it, with where my shipyards are, the time it takes for me to reinforce out here is pretty significant. I built an enforcer. That might have actually been to make sure I was using up the metal that I need to. He sends out his skeets. He runs into my ball of searchers, and I'm already ahead by 3. He doesn't get anything for his trouble. He's switching to building more skeets. The shipyard, you can see it's building plenty of skeets. And I'm rushing in. See his island, I blast him off of it. He switches my color. That's what that logo command does right there. Now what I'm doing is, now that I've basically got the sea superiority, I'm going to do a little bit of raiding. And the only way he's going to beat me here is if he outbuilds me. I see that I've got him way outnumbered, so I go in to get the kill. Now the danger of this is I am leaving this wreckage right here, which is a lot easier for him to reclaim. I come up to tag this metal extractor, and I succeed. You can see me building my sonars closer together means that I was actually able to get mine out a lot faster. I come in, I'm attacking the shipyard, trying to sink the con. This is a chance for him to push me out, because while my skeets are busy shooting this skeet under construction, they're not really doing any damage to these ones, so I have to pull back. I can't press. He's using this con ship to repair this one. That's a good move right there. And in come my big guns. I've got both my enforcers, so these are the ones that I'll use to sink the construction units. So you can see, I go ahead and I do that. I start shelling the construction guys. In order to kill a shipyard, you drop the cons first, and then you shoot for the corner. I take out his searchers there. He's building missile towers. He's doing his best to defend. So I've got my enforcers on it. He says, "You know what the dumbest part is? If I rematch you, you won't win it the same way." You can see I've got lots more titles. I'm going advanced. I say shoot all. I'm too busy winning at this point. I've got additional shipyards. You can see on land here, that's where I'm putting out my metal makers. I'm fully invested in the sea. He's got air. He's got advanced on land. Okay, I sink another con. And I come in to finish off the shipyards now. Down one shipyard. Go for the second. And there's the first pelican sighting. So now at this point, one of the reasons why, and you can see he reclaimed his sea. It looks like he's planning on abandoning it, at least abandoning that position. So, and I see I've got his comm out here. But you can see I'm not really committing to him. I'm not fully driving in on him. I don't want to accidentally leave this giant wreck. I've got a nice big old wreck field here for myself to reclaim that I've taken over. I don't want to lose that by driving in these enforcers too close to land and letting them get sunk by missile towers. I spy another con, and I sink that. You can see just single pelicans one at a time. They're not a match for the enforcers. I go ahead and I get those sunk. Spy the next con that's building missile towers. This kind of goes back to that game, if you watch the Red Triangle one, where I talked about if you see where the missile towers are coming from, where the missiles are coming from, if you follow them, you will often find a con. You can see what I'm doing is I'm trapping this pelican right here with my searchers, so then it's really easy for my enforcer to destroy. So now it's safe. The missile towers in here are down. I'm able to move my enforcers in. You can see his comm is walking towards the island. He's retreating. I've got lots more cons, searchers, a whole bunch of things. My advance is up. I'm working on my advance sea resources. He comes up to D-gun. He dips underwater, so this guy actually gets a little too close. I turn him around. You can see he's actually kind of injured, just out of range. You can see now he's building a Guardian, so he's got plenty of missile towers here, so I actually need to keep my distance. Granted, if I lose that enforcer, I will be able to repair it. I will be able to reclaim the wreckage. So at this point, you can see I'm at 44, he's at 35. C is where the resource is at. I'm now at 27. I've started to take the lead on the resource count. He's got his Guardian up, so now he is on land. You see I got my enforcers back. I'm using these guys to shoot. What I meant by he's on land is he's entirely on land. He sinks that enforcer, but I take out all of his shore defenses. You can see what's happening here. See how these searchers are getting hung up on this? In OTA, these wreckages, even though they were in water, they counted as impassable. That was one of the things I could count on this map. If someone went pelicans, usually by the time it got about here with their pelicans, they would have created a nice enough traffic jam that I wouldn't have any issues stopping the pelicans from reaching my island. It wasn't always the case on something like Coast to Coast, where there was not nearly as much space to do that, and every bit of metal is precious and counts. Here, cleaning up the wreckage is important and will win you games, but it's not going to happen as quickly considering the distance. You can see all the while I'm actually continuing to pump out more cons, although these aren't doing anything. I actually need to bring them over. And I'm setting 3 to each shipyard, and that's the most efficient way to build your searchers or your enforcers. You can see this thing is now hitting really easily, and that is because it is a veteran. Flies it over so we can get his guardian shoot at me, and he's going hawk. So Aprox not out of this game yet. You can see he's actually dipped back in the water. He wants to contest, at the very least, he's contesting this wreck field. Let's see if he's doing anything else on land here. No, so my resources are just continuing to expand. You can see I have gone air myself, and I've got multiple of the big boys out here. See, he's reclaiming, that's where his metal is coming from now. He's trying to rely on the wreck field. But you can see my lead has increased, so now I am at 36,000. I know I need to contest this wreck field. I can't just let him have it, but he's actually sneaking up here with his aircon. He's going to get this wreck that should be mine by all rights. But I'm just too big of a noob in 2009, and also I'm just trying to keep up with all the building work I've got to do. You can see he's reclaiming this guardian now. He wants the metal back now that he's actually secured some part of the shore. You can see Med has left us, so he's no longer watching. It's actually kind of funny, right as I start to push him out of the sea again, he's still reclaiming that guardian. I do not have enough enforcers to really drive this, but here comes the reinforcements and all of the cons. One thing with pelicans is you do have to keep them moving. That's why the wreckage stopping them is actually so important. E-guns some of my searchers. So I start building another shipyard right on top of him. See, not very much air defense back here. I'm not too worried. If he had gone air, then it would have been much easier for me to push him out of the water. But it's something I do need to be aware of. You can see what I'm doing is I'm going advanced vehicle. In OTA, the Necro doesn't work the way it does in Pro TA, and the advanced construction KBot is bugged. So if you try to use it to guard air facilities, it just sits there. Half the time it's just lazy and decides it doesn't want to do any work. Bringing a shipyard and reclaiming. Aprox on plus 30 metal to my plus 80. You can see that's just the power of unmolested sea resources. 4 carriers out. Shipyards all over the place. Infinite number of skeets basically just streaming in, there for line of sight. They also will protect against hawks. So I start pushing in. He actually left the guardian up, but it's damaged at this point. He didn't bother repairing it. But it'll be a while before I get to shoot at it. He marked my shipyard as he flew the scout over. Okay, and now he is repairing the guardian because he's realizing he's going to need it. I say silly ships, stupid ships, because they got too close to land and that one got taken out. At this point I'm getting worried because I'm like, okay, this is like I'm winning and I need to figure out how to put this away, because it is possible to turtle up on this island and win the game from just a little corner, and that's what Aprox is trying to do at this point. I'm pretty good at trying to prevent that just simply by making sure I am way ahead on resources. You can see at this point he is at again like around a little over 30, and I am sitting on closer to 80. My advanced vehicle is done. I've got a lot of metal makers on land, more than he does. His guardian is doing some work. You can see here it's at 23 kills. He's brought his commander out to just pick up this. Now he could, what would be smarter probably, be to build a fake or two and then have them walk on out. Because then it would also, not only would it provide line of sight, he'd be able to reclaim too. And it's not nearly as risky as doing this, because if I can trap his commander, then I can kill him. And you can trap it just by moving some searchers around atop, and if I move in enough enforcers, then we'll win. So now I'm getting nervous. He's got 5 hawks. He's starting to shoot my enforcers. Searchers, metal for metal, are more efficient against the hawks. But now he's got pels and hawks, which are a problem. As you can see, I bring the searchers down. They drive the hawks off. I need to protect my enforcers from the hawks, but I still also need to trap these pelicans, at least get them trapped enough where I can create this little wreck field of more or less underwater dragon's teeth that can't get through. So I brought in some air cons to do some work over here. It's one of the things on this map, because it takes so long for stuff to get across, sometimes I'll just grab a bunch of things and move them across. And then when they get here, then I'll figure out what to do with them. He's still sending his pelicans out kind of one at a time. It is contesting the wreck field. He's also looking for vulnerabilities, places where the searchers aren't. He catches this con and this enforcer out, and smartly pulls them back right about the time that I bring up my searchers. I'm building air defense here. I want to be able to contest the hawks. Heading back here to see what I'm up to. You can see I've got an advanced con out, and I have sparked a moho metal maker. So what that means is you start building it, and then you attack it, which causes the animation to trigger, meaning that this will close up, and then it opens, even though it's not finished. So you can see my resources have spiked at this point, because I'm now converting my metal. Now I'm at 5,000 energy, and I'm now converting that energy using a moho metal maker, which is more efficient. So I can actually take this and start another one, and get the additional benefit of the better efficiency of the moho metal maker pretty much right away. So you can see I've got the cons in here. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 enforcers now, so I've got a decent navy. I've got enough to battle the hawks. I decide I really don't want to be feeding him metal. I need to focus on building, because I know eventually he's going to come around back. You can see why. That's why I'm just starting to build up a bunch of missile towers, and I am building another aircraft plant down here because I intend to do my thing and stack some bombers. I go in, I catch a few hawks off out of position, only trade a few searches for it. You can see I've got plenty of searcher production. I'm not going to increase it, but I'm also just not stopping it. He flies a scout in. You can see I've got these guys here. These are designed to protect my sea resources from the hawks. I can also stop and grab some of these searchers and bring them in. Hawks are very expensive, so while they are a game ender and they're quite powerful, he needs enough of them to be able to overwhelm what air defenses I have. See, he's starting to go Big Bertha too. He wants to use that to claim this wreck field and get himself back in the water. It's not a bad move. Big Berthas, once you get them trained up, they're pretty accurate, and they start dropping ships, even advanced ships, if you get them out pretty quickly. I start pressing in. He's got a sea full of missile towers here. It's going to be very hard for me to break into this without something a little bit more long-ranged. See, the Guardians are shooting. Now the downside is here is, yep, for him, I just don't see a fusion. So I'm at nearly 100 metal at this point to his 40. So the game should be over, but I'm having trouble closing this out. But that's just kind of the way the map is, which is one of the reasons why people like it. Even if you're losing, you can still get a game out of it and have yourself a battle. Pelicans, they have this memory missile. Even though they don't have line of sight, once they pick a target, they stick on it until it either dies or you hit the stop button. So it's a good use of the Pelicans. He's actually going to catch this enforcer out, and it will go down. See, I'm continuing to build missile towers here, just to deter the hawks. And his Big Bertha is done. But also, my bomber stacks are done with 4 advanced cons. Building those, and I'm starting my advanced air. So with the shadow stacks, there won't be much that I can't reach on that island. We'll go ahead and crank this for you guys here. See, he's just scouting. The downside is, though, he's not really working much on his resource base. This right here cost about as much as a fusion. You can see he's just starting this now. So if he isn't able to parlay this into the wreck field, then it may not be absolutely worth it for him. You can see I catch his Pels out here. His Big Bertha is now shelling this island. Once the Pels come on island, they lose their missile protection from being in the water. He moves his Hawks up. And I remember like how I was feeling about this. I was like, oh my gosh, he's got a Big Bertha up. He's gonna get this wreck field. I'm gonna lose. I'm so bad. But that didn't stop me from pressing forward. You can see he sank the shipyard that's up here. And these searches are just really easy training for him. You can train that Big Bertha up. These are out of position. You may notice that. Yes, he does. He comes to clean them up. I say crafap. You can see I bring up my searchers to chase off the Hawks. I drop 2 of those. Bring them back down. These are my primary defense against the Pels. Big Bertha's still shooting on me. Bomber stack getting big. You can see I build another air plant to build nothing but scouts. Only put 1 con guarding that because I just don't really need as many of those. And I get my own vamp production going. See here, I've got a third Moho Metal Maker sparked here. I'm at nearly 120 to his 42. It's important for me to scout and bomb to just kind of break him and stop him from breaking out or getting enough Hawks to send him into my back line. See, I've got lots of missile towers here. These are little patches of them. If you let them get this close together, they can blow each other up. The other thing is my comm is on land. I have this to protect myself against the Hawks, the Cobra there, but if he finds that, he can get a snipe. He gets the scouting off there, but he marks my advanced air, so he knows what's coming, although he probably didn't need to scout to know that that's what I was up to. Here comes my own scouting run, and this is where I kind of breathe a sigh of relief. I'm like, oh, he doesn't really have that much. But you can see his persistence with the Hawks has paid off. He's now actually, and the Big Bertha, he's now actually secured the wreck field. I back up. You can see once he saw those missile towers, he didn't stay and just kill them. He knew that just wasn't a worthwhile trade, especially since he's a Big Bertha up, which can push out. Now this, yeah, let's see, it's a bad move right there. I got more scouts. See where I'm looking. I'm watching here. I'm thinking, okay, he's got to have this stuff all on the shore. And that's where I see. Okay, so he's just got 1 fusion under construction, 1 Big Bertha, and 1 advanced airplane. That's not bad for me at all. Again, over here you can see my resources are just exploding. Getting these aircons. I'm building an anti-nuke too. I just want to make sure it's a mobile one. I want to make sure that there's nothing he's doing in case I didn't find that nuke. That's going to get me. I'm trying to cover all my bases. The only thing I haven't done here is build a fake commander. Anti-nuke is done. Oh shoot! I missed the bombing run. There it is. So you can see there's the stack bombers. Came in, took out the Big Bertha. Sorry about that, guys. I could try and rewind, but that's sometimes can mess things up, especially if I don't know exactly where I'm at. So you can see though Aprox is now pushing out. He's taking advantage of the wreckage, and he's driving into the water, rebuilding his sea resources too while he does it. But without the Big Bertha to help him gain territory, you can see now I've got my own swarm of vamps that are out. I'm going to be a bit more conservative with them. I tend to like to build up a decent number of them before I send them in, whereas I notice a lot of ARM players, they get 5 of them and they immediately get them to work, which is technically a more efficient way to use them. Vamps, they're not as good as Hawks, but they're they're still a significant threat in and of themselves. So you can see I'm pressing in here. I'm trying to find those hawks. I find them. I move in, and I take them out. He's trying to go advance C. I think this is a bit of a mistake. He should probably build this back here, but at this point he's just building. And I catch the commander. I don't know if I see it yet. Because I don't think I have sonar up here. Yeah, so I don't see the commander. I use the hawks. I use my vamps to drive him back. He's got his fusion up now, so he's actually, you can see his metal resources have just spiked suddenly. He's built his advanced again. I say shoot all. I'm trying to drive him completely out of the sea. I use my vamps to press into the missile towers. You can see he actually reclaimed that Guardian now. This is where I see his commander. And I move in my enforcers. He's in trouble. D-guns. Gets one of them. Gets two. Dips back into the water. And his hawks finish off the rest. But he says, LMAO. He says, that was silly. I said, crap, I was marking. I said, did you die? And he did actually. He saw that last depth charge from that last destroyer hit him, and that was enough to take him out and end the game. So, quite the game there. I had it pretty well sealed up from the beginning. But as you can see, it takes a bit of effort to end it, especially against someone who's really determined to get a comeback going. So, at this point, Med goes and he comments on that very same thread that we discussed earlier and said, maybe you should have made a 6-4 option, because remember he made the options 9-1, 8-2, and 9-1, 8-2, and 7-3 in favor of him. Now, the other thing that's a little bit funny about that, you may be like, well, why didn't he give a 10-0 if he's so confident? Is because he knew he knew the dark side was going to come up. And he, didn't want to say with confidence that he would win 100% on dark side. But we opened the best of 10 after 2 games with an even set, 1-1. So next game will be game number 3, Aprox's pick. So hope you all enjoyed that one. Make sure, if you haven't already, to hit the subscribe button, do the whole bell thing, leave a comment and a like. If you're curious, and if you have your own predictions about how this goes, this is a matter of historical record, of course, so it probably wouldn't be too hard to find some of the other games. I think some of the other games from this series may be on the Tatters. Yeah. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed that one, and I'll catch you around for the next one. All right, everybody, take care now. Bye-bye.